A couple weeks ago, I did some pork belly burnt ends to make some pork belly burnt ends street tacos. Well, I'm in the mood for burnt ends again, but I'm not going to be doing pork belly and I'm not going to be doing brisket burnt ends. I'm going to be doing pork butt burnt ends. So I've got about an 8-pound pork butt here. Going to be doing it on the Oklahoma Joe's Highland today with some hickory wood smoke. First thing I need to do though is get the rub ready. Our rub today has 4 ingredients. We have a cup of dark brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, about 1.5 teaspoons of ground black pepper, and about 1 teaspoon of a South African smoked seasoning blend. We're just going to go ahead and mix this up. You can already see how the paprika and that South African smoked seasoning blend are darkening up this already dark brown sugar. Let's give this a little taste. Yeah, I know I'm using my finger. Family's eating this. That's really nice. See if you can see this here. I'm trying to show you this South African smoked seasoning blend. It's really nice. It's from Trader Joe's. If you have a Trader Joe's near you, you can pick it up there. Okay, rub's ready. Let's get it on the pork butt. As I mentioned, this is about an 8-pound pork butt. We're going to be taking this to 170 degrees internal out on the Oklahoma Joe's Highland. Then we're going to be taking it off, cubing it up into burnt end size pieces, putting it with some nice sauce, some nice coating, and putting it back in there in a foil pan to finish up. So the initial smoke we're going to be doing with this rub is to get that first coating of flavor. Make sure you get the sides, everything, try and get it in all the little nooks and crannies. Got a nice little fat cap on here. We're going to be doing this fat side down today out there. If you prefer to do it fat side up, you can do that. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. If it comes out tasting good, that's what matters. And our smoker temp today, we're going to be shooting for 225 to 250 throughout the cook. As I mentioned, we're using hickory wood. Once we transition to this being in a foil pan, we'll probably rely mostly on charcoal briquettes for heat. Playing it a little bit by ear here. I don't know if I'm going to cover the foil pan when the cubes are in there or leave it uncovered the entire time. We'll see. I've never done this before, making burnt ends out of a pork butt. It's a little bit of an experiment for me. I know others have done it. Okay, pork butt's fully rubbed. Our smoker's up to temp. Let's get it out there and get it on the Oklahoma Joe's Highland. We've got good smoke going, nice and clean. Smoker temp right now is about 273. That's fine. That'll change as soon as we get this meat on there and adjust our dampers a bit. Right now it's time to get this pork butt on the Oklahoma Joe. You can see I already have my internal temperature probe in here resting on a piece of foil. That's just to help sterilize it a little bit more even after the initial cleaning. I've got full water pan on this side, full water pan on this side. Want to keep moisture in here, especially during the first part of this cook today. Got our fat side here. We're going to put fat side down. Placing it right about in the center. Transitioning over to a grill glove to hold this probe because it's already hot. We're going to get this in here. Our bone is right here, so we want to make sure we avoid the bone. And that's good. You can see internal meat temperature, 36 degrees. Came right out of the refrigerator before we rubbed it. It's good. We found the right spot. Let's get our foil out of there. Let's get this closed up and building back up to temp. Let's give our fire a quick check here. It's time for another piece of hickory. I'm working with smaller cuts of hickory today. Give that a second to start catching. It's going to be a warm day out here at the smoker. I have my canopy up over the portion just a little bit away from the smoker so it's not directly under it. But yeah, it's going to be toasty out here today, probably close to 100 with high humidity, which is not normal for our area. All right, looks like we're catching. We're going to go ahead and close this up so we can build back up to temp. So I have the damper fully open and the damper door cracked about 2 inches just to give it a little extra airflow with this new piece of wood on there. Once that's going, I'll adjust the damper to keep us between that 225, 250. If it goes up a little bit, 275-ish, I'm not worried, but it'll probably stay right around that 250 range most of the day with a little bit of adjustment. And really nice smoke coming out of there now. Good clean burn going. So the first part of this cook, getting to the 170-degree internal temperature, could take anywhere from 4 to 6, 7 hours. Every piece of meat's different. It's probably going to take between 5 and 6. Could take 4. Could take 7. The thing about smoking is you've got to go with what your needs are. Do you need it tender? Then you're going for a certain tenderness. Do you need it at a certain internal temperature? Then that's what you're going for. We're going for that temperature today so we can take it off, cut it up into cubes, and get it back on to reach the state of tenderness. So you can see, good smoke rolling. I'll bring you back when we need to make some adjustments or if it's time to take this thing off and cut it up. Okay, we're about an hour and a half in. We got good smoke rolling still. Just want to give this firebox a look. See, our meat temp is 82. Our pit temp is 233. I've already added wood once. Just want to look and see if I need to add any more. Move this around a little bit. Knock some of this ash down. That's looking good. I'm going to close this up and I'm going to pull some ash out of the firebox. Get some ash out of here so we keep good airflow going. Close that back up. Let's see, meat temperature is 84, pit temp still 233, good. Gonna let this keep cooking. Shooting for that 170 internal. A little bit of a command decision here. I'm actually gonna add another piece of wood right now so that this has a little bit more longevity, whichever way you say that. I'm a writer and I can't say longevity. Gonna get this in here. Let that catch for a second before we close it up. A little bit of a breezy day today, which is nice with the high temps. At least it's not feeling like it's the middle of hell. So this way I should be able to maintain this temp a little bit longer. As I mentioned, these are smaller pieces of hickory. I've cut these sticks down, actually even more than I usually do, just to be able to kind of keep it from racing up in these higher temperatures. All right, let's close this up. So we're progressing well here. Like I said, we're a little over an hour and a half into this. Still have plenty of time to go. Our internal meat temp's only in the mid upper 80s right now. Another, 80, 90 degrees to go before we pull it and cut it into cubes. I'll bring you back when it's time to take this off and start turning it into those burnt ends. Okay, we're just about 3 hours into this. Our internal temperature is 122. Pit temp's running around 215 right now. I just added some more wood, but I need to spritz this. And the sad thing is my spray bottle broke, so I'm going to be using alternate methods. Oh, that looks good. Oh, it smells good too. So what I'm going to be using is just a squirt bottle, not a spray bottle, kind of like a little, condiment squirt bottle. And I've got a 5-to-1 mixture of apple juice to apple cider vinegar. So 5 parts apple juice, 1 part apple cider vinegar. And I'm just going to sort of drizzle this on this, let it run down the sides since I can't spray it. Looking good. Okay, we're going to close this up. Keep cooking. Internal temps 123, another 47 degrees to go. Okay, we are just at about 170. We're a couple degrees away, but I'm ready to pull this now. It's been 5.5 hours, and I think we're ready to get these cubed up so we can turn them into burnt ends. Oh, look at that. A little difficult to see in the bright sunlight there, but man, that is really nice. Have some glove insulators under my nitrile gloves. So let's take this temperature probe out. Let's get this off. Okay, so here is our pork butt at 170 degrees internal. First thing I'm going to do is see if the bone will come out easily right now. This is a bone-in pork butt. Sometimes at this temperature it will, sometimes it won't. Yeah, it's not going to come out easy, so we're going to cut around it. I don't want to like rip it and tear up a lot of this meat. So what I'm going to start doing is cutting sections of this away that can then be cubed up. And as you can see, it's fully cooked. It's just not tender at this temperature. Here's a little piece of meat with some bark on it. Tastes really good. Needs more time for tenderness. Just going to keep cutting away sections of this, and we'll work our way around the bone. Any large pieces of fat like this, we're not going to discard. We're actually going to throw it in the pan that the meat is going to go into when it's cubed. Just going to keep breaking this down. Now on this bone, there's a lot of good meat that's still kind of stuck to it. I don't want to rip that apart. It won't turn out in cubes for our burnt ends. You can save this, use it in a stock. Good stuff here. So now that I have these pieces broken down, I'm going to break them down further into approximately 1-inch cubes. They don't have to be perfect. And if there's still fat on them, that's fine. You can kind of see what that cube looks like. Still got some fat on there. If you want to take some of the fat off, if you think there's too much, go ahead. I'm going to leave it. And I'm just going to start putting these pieces that I cut up into the foil pan. You can see how you have to actually work to cut through this. It's not tender at this temperature. You can see some of these pieces. That's about the size I'm going for. If you want to make them smaller, you can, but I want them a little bit bigger. I'm going to continue breaking this down, and I'll bring you back as soon as they're in the foil pan and ready to be sauced. So here we have our nice big foil pan full of pork butt, burnt ends to be. These are cubed up pieces of that pork butt. Some of them are going to have bark on it. Some that are in the center don't have any bark on it, but we're going to add a lot of flavor by saucing these now and getting them back on the smoker. First thing I want to do is I'm actually going to hit these with a little bit more of that South African seasoning blend, because I really like the scent and the flavor of that. Now I'm going to be adding some sauce, and this is a Trader Joe's Kansas City style barbecue sauce. Just going to be pouring this in here, and we'll be mixing this up to coat everything. And if you're wondering what I did with that fat that I put into this pan, I squeezed all the juices out of it before removing sort of the skin and everything, and just leaving these cubes of pork butt in here. And I'm going to take a little bit of apple juice and I'm actually going to pour it into the barbecue sauce jar. I'm just going to shake this up to get all the rest of that barbecue sauce out, mixed in with this apple juice. We're just going to pour this in with everything else. Now it's time to mix. You can do this any way you want. I'm just doing it with a gloved hand. Make sure everybody gets coated. Everybody's in the swimming pool. Everybody's got to get wet. And then we want an even distribution in here because I decided I am going to foil this. I'm going to foil this for about an hour, and at the end of that I'm going to check for tenderness, and I'll probably leave it uncovered then for another 30 minutes to an hour. So we're going to seal this up tight. 2 layers of foil. Why 2? Because the heat that gets in there, you want to trap it in there. You want to hold it. Would 1 do? Probably. I think 2 does better. All right, we're ready. Let's get this back on the smoker. All right, let's get this back on. Put it right there. We don't need any temperature probes in that. We're just going off the pit temp. Let's close it up. All right, we are at an hour. We're going to take the foil off and take a look at this. Those are looking really good. Let's see how we're doing there. Yep, I want them to have a little more time in there, uncovered. All right, I'm going to put them back in here probably for another 45 minutes, I'm guessing. Okay, we'll close this up. Let it keep cooking. Okay, it's now been an hour uncovered, and I want to check it for tenderness. If we need to go longer, we will. But if it needs to go longer, I'm going to actually wrap it back in foil. So we're at a total of 8 hours now. So I'm going to check for tenderness here. Squeezing these. They still need a little bit more. Some of them are very tender. Some of them need a little bit more. All right, let's wrap these back up in foil. Okay, I've got a piece of foil that's doubled over, so I'll get a double wrap. I'm gonna keep these going. Okay, we are at about 9 hours now. Let's check these, see if they're ready to come off. I did slide them down towards the firebox a little bit. Oh, those are looking good. Let's do some fork testing here. Oh, those are feeling pretty good. I think we are ready. Let's get these inside. There is a platter full of pork butt burnt ends with the sunlight hitting them just right. Man, they look gorgeous from here. Okay, it is time to taste. If there's anything worth waiting for, it's burnt ends, whether it's brisket, pork belly, or like these, pork butt burnt ends. Now, these were about a 9.5 hour total cook time, which isn't very different from what you would spend smoking the entire pork butt. We took it to 170 internal in the smoker, then cubed it up, put it in a foil pan with sauce so we could make these burnt ends. And I think that 9.5 hours is gonna be worth it. Now, one thing I didn't show you when I was cutting this up into the cubes was the smoke penetration. There is a good smoke ring on this. I don't know if you can really still see it on this piece, but there is a smoke ring. This is from the outside. You can see the bark. All right, I'm ready to taste. Here we go. Oh. Oh, wow. Fall apart. Wow. That time in the sauce, just soaking it out there on the smoker as it's still cooking, absorbing all that flavor. To go along with the rub that we did at the beginning, incredible. That one just melted. Wow. Here's another one. This is just like oozing juice. There is sauce, but there is juice just dripping out of this. Let's see. If I didn't have any teeth, I could gum this. Oh man. As I mentioned earlier, not every piece is going to have that external bark because we did cube it up, but that flavor penetrates, especially with the sauce afterwards, and that additional little shake of that South African seasoning blend that I put in there. But if you get a piece with bark, that's the way you want to go. Holy moly. Wow. So the question becomes with something like this, what is it? Is it a meal? Is it a snack, appetizer? Or is it just a plate you put out and see how many people will trip over themselves to get to it? I think it's that last one. These are really good. I just dropped a piece on the floor. My dogs are going to be happy. Oh. So if you've got a pork butt and maybe you want to do something a little different, you don't want to do pulled pork sandwiches or sliced pork for sandwiches or anything like that, you want to do something a little different, you can do pork butt burn ends just like this. Follow the process. It's kind of foolproof. Give it the time it needs, give it the smoke it needs, the sauce, the flavor, all those things, and you're going to end up with burn ends just like these. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel and consider subscribing. And if you do, click that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great evening. I'll see you again soon.